This is the reason why you should never underestimate the center game in chess. This game right here, for example, was played by Grandmaster Jan Nepomniachtchi against Xiangzhi in 2009. This game was played in 2009, and at the time, Nepo was rated 2632 and Xiangzhi was rated 2702, so he was over 2700. And yet, Nepo managed to win with this very opening that I'm going to show you right now. So the game started e4, e5, d4. This is the center game, the position of the center game, and your opponent takes, and Nepo recapture with the queen. This is an opening that a lot of people discourage new players to play because you play your queen out too early in the opening and you open up some opportunities for black to attack it. So black played knight to c6 here, attacking the queen, and Nepo just dropped the queen back to e3. And I'm going to show you that this opening is not to be underestimated because it can actually be very powerful against your opponents. You just have to know what to do here, and you can get some very quick development in the queen side and castle very quickly and pawn storm against your opponents the way I like to play this opening. Opponent here is going to play knight f6 in this case. Nepo played knight to c3, and then after bishop to b4 pinning the knight, Nepo unpinned the knight by playing bishop to d2. And then short castles and long castles. This is the position I like to play this opening, but actually in this position right here, instead of developing the knight to c3, I prefer to just develop the bishop first and then the knight later to avoid this very annoying pin right here. So usually if you develop the bishop here, black's going to develop their bishop over there, and then you can put the knight here and castle without this annoying bishop pinning your knight. But in this case, Nepo decided to just develop the knight first, allowing their opponent to pin them. But it's okay, it's just another way to play the same opening. Here we have a very quickly opposite side castling, and the plan here is very simple. We're going to pawn storm against our opponent on the queen side and try to attack black's king right here. And that's exactly what Nepo did. So after rook e8, he played queen to g3, and after d6, he played a3, kicking the bishop away. The bishop dropped back to a5, and then he played f3 just to support the central pawn right here. So after that, knight to h5 is attacking the queen. So Nepo has to move the queen away, and he moved the queen to e1. And after bishop to e6, developing the bishop, Nepo started to pawn storm, the way I like to play this opening, castling queen side very quickly and pawn storming against our opponent. So this is the way I play this opening, and this is exactly how Nepo played this. So g4 is attacking the knight right away, knight has to drop back to f6. And after that, g5 attacking the knight once more, making the knight retreating even further, even back to d7. And then h4 to support this pawn right here. Can you see that? Pawn storming very strongly here, pushing the pawns and trying to attack the black position. That's exactly what Nepo did in this game. After knight to f8, you can see that black's position start to get very cramped here. He played h5. And in this position, black actually found a really good move here, which is taking the knight. After taking this knight, you actually deflect this bishop from the defense of this pawn, and you actually end up losing this pawn. So that's what black did. After Nepo recaptured, queen takes g5 with check. Nepo just moved the king away to b1, and after h6, Nepo started to develop the knight to e2, queen to e7, and then knight to f4, rerouting this knight to a more active position, attacking the bishop. So here they are hitting the bishop. And after knight to e5, rook g1 was played. Now we can see that the rook is taking advantage over this open file. So that pawn was taken, but now we have this open file to work with. And you will see that this open file will actually win the game, and Nepo will use this file to attack the black's king. After f6 here, Nepo played queen to e3, and after bishop moving back to f7, trying to reroute this bishop, Rook to d2, probably thinking about doubling up here on this file that is open. You can see that Nepo is going to put all the pieces here on this open file. So after knight to h7, you can see the black pieces are very cramped. It's very hard for black to move the pieces around. This pawn is very annoying. This pawn is also very annoying. It's difficult to move the pieces around. Nepo played knight to d5, hitting the queen. So their opponent had no choice but just to take the knight away, and then Nepo recaptured with the rook. Then the opponent just moved the knight to f7, trying to maneuver the pieces here, and bishop to c4 was a very key move, and later on this very strong attack will make sense. After king to h8, the opponent saw that. Rook to d2, trying to maneuver the rook around, trying to bring it back to the open file. Knight h to g5 was the move that was played by black. Rook d to g2, doubling up on the open file, and c6, trying to advance in the center. So this is a rule that a lot of people say: when your opponent is attacking in the flanks, you attack in the center, you counter-attack in the center, and that's what black was doing here. After f4, hitting the knight, black counterattacked with d5, hitting the bishop. But white didn't matter. Nepo took the knight, and after the other knight recaptured, they just dropped back the bishop to d3. Okay, after c5, Nepo played queen to g3, tripling up on this open file. So now we have a triple battery here, aiming at this weak pawn on g7, and white's going to put all their forces here to attack this position. After c4, Nepo just dropped the bishop away. Queen takes e4, taking the central pawn, and Nepo played queen to f2. And in this position, black played the losing move, knight to h3. This move is straight up losing the game because it's just opening up the attack against black's king. So there are two winning moves here. Nepo could have taken this pawn with the queen, and this is actually winning. If you take the pawn with the queen, black cannot recapture, because if they capture the queen, they can actually white can actually play this move, taking the pawn with check, and after king h7, we check with the rook. King goes back, and then we have this beautiful checkmate. It's a discovered checkmate, really beautiful. You can see that the rooks are covering the escape squares here, and the bishop is delivering checkmate, protected by the rook. It's just a very interesting checkmate here. But that's not actually what Nepo did. Nepo took the pawn with the rook, which is also winning, because there's pretty much nothing that black can do here. If they play like a silly move here, let's play just a silly move just to see what happens. They were threatening to just check, and after takes, queen takes the pawn with check, king h7, we can check over there, f7, and after rook blocks, we can just capture, and this is just checkmate. So actually, there's not much to do here. Black is already losing, and after rook here, to protect maybe this pawn, we can see that Nepo played this very nasty move here. Bishop takes f6. The mate is unavoidable here. From this position, it's just forced checkmate. So black just played this move, queen to e1 check. Nepo could have just traded here. It would still be winning, but he played the best move in this position, just moved the king away. And after the opponent takes the rook with the knight, they could have just captured the knight with the rook here, but instead Nepo decided to just move the rook away to e7 with discovered check. And after king to g8, Nepo played queen takes g1 with check. So this is just losing for black. There's no way, mate is unavoidable. The best way to prevent this checkmate is to just block with the queen, in case just white's going to take here, and after this we have checkmate in one over here. Okay, this was the best defense for black, to just avoid checkmate for one more move. because there was nothing to do in this position here. If you just move the king, it's just mate in one. So there's nothing that black can do to prevent this checkmate. And this is the power of the center game, which is an underestimated, underrated opening after you take the pawn here. People say that it's bad because you get attacked by the knight, but after you move the queen away and you develop your two remaining queenside pieces and castle, it's just a very powerful attack that you can launch against your opponents here, just pawn storming, and it's a great game that you can have. So if you like this video, please remember to like and subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below with your opinion about this game and about the center game. And as always, I see you guys in the next video.